is for you. Something cheesy, ain't it breezy? Summery scenes and funny machines. Kiss me quick and donkeys, so far away, and I anchor today for those days now.
You've got to anchor for the real taste of butter.
Today, this will buy you nearly 2 pork sausages, a third of a pint of beer, half a 4-ounce burger, a small piece of salmon, or a whole pint of real fresh milk. How's that for unbeatable value? Put an extra pinter. First today.
Or just, you know, I mean, do you do it seriously, or is it something that you occasionally do?
Oh, no, I do it seriously.
Well, I meant seriously,
yes.
you know.
I do it by appointment. They do ring to make an appointment to
Oh,
come.
they do it?
Oh, yes, I do it by appointment.
And what age group do you work with, Carol?
Well, any age group, really, but I prefer counselling young people. I mean, around the ages of between 15 to 19.
Yeah.
Somehow.
That was the age group that I worked with, actually.
What is it?
I worked in childcare. So your kind of work's allied to that, isn't it?
Indeed. What were you? A house mother?
A house mother, yeah.
See.
But if you counsel, I mean, these aren't children from children's homes, are they? They're just children who generally need help.
Generally, yes. It's just kids from Hastings and all of that.
Do they come with their parents, or
oh, no,
the parents in them?
No, good Lord,
it's all very sort of...
Oh, yes.
Confidential.
Very confidential, yes.
What are the most common problems, though, that they do ask you about?
Well, the common problem at the moment, I'm afraid, is very much unemployment.
Yeah.
It's the biggest demoralizing thing for young people these days. You see, contrary to what people think about young people not wanting a job or wanting to go on the dole, it's not true. They love to go to a job after leaving school. They find it very, very demoralizing not having a job to go to.
So what do you do? Give them advice as what they can spend the time doing instead of, if they can't get a job, I mean, or
no, half the time I put them onto an agency that will help them. They've got this new scheme in Hastings that's called YOP, Young Youth Opportunities Program, which comes very handy. At least it's a sort of stepping stone till they could find a regular employment.
Yeah. And do they find them jobs on the whole? Or what happens if they don't? This must be the awfully hard part.
It is.
You know, when you want to help them and there seem to be no prospect.
Did you have formal training, Carol?
Yes, I went to college. I did a 2-year course up in London. In fact, the course is called a Youth and Community Work course, but it included counselling, which I find very, very helpful.
Do you find in some of the people that come to see you, you have a little bit of heartbreak there, or do you feel that you can just sort of switch off after they've left you? Do you carry it on?
Oh, I do carry it on. I do. It is said a good counsellor shouldn't carry on, but I find it very difficult to switch off, I'm afraid, because I'm very, very much involved. And what we've got to bear in mind, these people, young people that come to me are all living in Hastings. I do know them, you see, and I know their family background, I know their parents. So it's very, very difficult to switch off.
It is difficult anyway if somebody does come to see you with a problem. And when I worked in childcare, I found I got so emotionally involved that I was thinking about 20 kids all at once.
Yes,
my own 2 plus another 18.
Indeed, indeed.
And it drains you physically and emotionally.
It does drain you.
Do you find that boys have more problems than girls, or vice versa, or is it pretty much the same?
I think pretty much the same, but I do think girls have much problems somehow, because about boyfriends, what to wear, what clothes, not getting on with mom at home, makeup and so on. When am I to do this? When aren't I supposed to? How long should I stay out? Mom won't let me stay out, and things like that.
You think it'll help with your own daughters when they grow up?
Oh, I hope it does. I hope it really does. Yes, I think it will to a certain extent.
Must have a lighter side, though. Surely you do get happiness.
Oh, yes.
On certain occasions.
Yes, one does. There is the joyous side of it, because if you've been counselling a young person and you see them getting on, or sort of coming across, doing what they want to do anyway, you see, that is a joy to see.
Yes,
it really is a joy to see. Yes.
What happens then, say, if a young person comes to you and you feel that you're not able, maybe because you're not, what should I say, professional enough? Do they send somebody else then? Do they go to see somebody else instead?
Oh, yes, you do put them in touch with the right agency that will help them.
You can refer them
yes,
to
you do referral. It's called the referral system. You refer them onto someone who will help them.
So you're really not alone. You can, in your turn, get help as well.
Oh, yes, yes. I've got somebody who does help me. Yes, I do.
That's good.
I think it's becoming a dirty word in our house. If I say cellulite, they say, oh, don't start talking about that. And it surprises me, Claire. People don't seem to know what it is.
Oh, I think that if you said to any woman, have you got sort of dimples in your thighs, or it looks like orange peel, or it's lump, yes, and this sort of thing, I think everyone would know that meant cellulite. Oh, I think so. They might know the name, but they would know the problem. I mean, so many people have got it.
I know, and it's not restricted to, it used to be the elderly.
That's right. They used to think that it was old. As you got older, the body functions slowed down and couldn't get rid of toxins and with accumulated fat. It's really what I call the hot potato of the beauty world. There are so many theories, A, of what causes it, and B, how to get rid of it when it's got. But when the miniskirt...
Men don't get it. This is what I don't understand. So it must be hormonal or something like that.
The women, when they said it was young, you know, it was only the old, as you were getting older, so I put it, had it. But then when the miniskirt came in, they were absolutely amazed that the youngsters had it.
What a relief, eh?
And then I think, because the mini's coming back again, isn't it?
We'll have to scrub harder. Anyway, what I did, a friend of mine got some lotion that she thought had worked wonderfully, but it was £15, which
I should hope it would work at that price.
Yes. So, and I looked at what was in it, and there were 3 herbs and other oil and stuff like that. And it was, I looked up the herbs and what they did, and one was a ruby facton. It sounds rude, doesn't it? It's a horrible word. But it means, I looked that up as well, it means it brings the blood to the surface and speeds up the circulation. And then another one was stimulating, and another one was to help dispel the toxins that are trapped in these pockets of horrible fat. Yes. So I couldn't get the same herbs as they had, but I checked in the herb books and got these 3 which had the same properties. Yeah. In fact, elderflowers, that's this one, is the dried elder flowers, has wonderful regenerative properties, it said. I wanted to slap it all over me in a paste and see what it was like. And you need, it's 10 grams to 2 pints. So 5 grams to a pint. I wouldn't make too much at once because with it being herbal and fresh, it probably might not keep too well. No. Could keep it in the fridge, really. Probably be better cold, wouldn't it? Anyway, 5 grams there of elderflowers and the dried lavender flowers, which would be lovely and cheap because I've got a little lavender bush.
I love them.
I know, aren't they lovely? Yes. Same measurements of all the herbs. And nettles, funnily enough, but they are very good for clearing the blood, aren't they?
Yes,
people used to drink nettles.
Yes, that's right.
And they're also nice and cheap. And I used mineral water.
You don't mean lemonade water, lemonade, do you? You mean you mean the bottled spring water.
Bottled spring water. That's a pint, and bring it to the boil, and immediately put it onto the herbs. It smells lovely.
Oh, it
looks
does.
pretty too, doesn't it?
You know, you ought to be able to collect it. You could really make it a do-it-yourself herb thing because you could surely collect elderflowers in season and dry them off, couldn't you?
And then quickly cover it because all the steam has got all the properties in it as well. And leave it for 24 hours, like that. Yeah. After 24 hours, strain it. And I use one of these, I've still got my children's school snappies, they kind of become heirlooms.
Really, yes.
Just put it in a jug and tip it through there so that you catch all this, you know, all the herbs. And add half a large bottle of witch hazel, which is for tightening, for astringent.
Well, that's another, property, yes.
So you approve of all this, do you?
Oh, yes, I don't know whether it will work, but I approve of what you're doing up to now.
It's definitely going to work. Give me your arm and I'll make it thin as a rake. And wonderful. What I do is every morning I get up and I rub all over with a loofah, absolutely everywhere, even face and everything, as hard as I can bear it.
Face you put on?
Yeah, just little gentle ones on my face.
You haven't got any cellulite on your face?
No, but it's a friction lotion. So I see. And then you rub hard like that.
Well, I'm glad you're doing it. You see, you can see the properties of it because it's going slightly pink, which means it is bringing the blood to the surface.
You've got nice arms, haven't you? You've got nice skin on your arms. Never cellulite there. No. Like that. And then I do it again at night, but I don't do the loofahing again at night. No. I just rub it all over like that, and it goes in straight away. Oh, yes. It smells quite nice as well. Quite fresh.
Yes, very good.
Yes, so...
Because I believe that herbs, myself, won't say cure anything, but people use the herbal tea and things like this, and it will help the body sort of work better
which
itself.
Is better, surely, than something chemical. Well, and what I thought also would be a good idea was to put it in these little cheap bottles. You get a fine spray all over, so that's less messing about than in a bottle.
Yes, it is, and you wouldn't have it all running down over your hands.
That's right, yes, so there'd be no cellulite round our house, wouldn't
there? No, there won't be.
And I think the rubbing...
Yes, but you mustn't be too
got my hands lovely and dirty.
Is that heavy?
It is.
Oh,
Well, this is really Lisa's, but Mummy's done all the work, isn't it?
yes, I'm sure.
What I'm going to do is a little garden in a box for Lisa. And I thought Jamila would like doing it as well. Because you know how children love it. And this is just nice and handy for them. This is the inside of a kitchen unit, a drawer. But you can use a wooden box, a tomato box, anything, really, for the year, because it will rot anyway at the end of the year. And the flowers are finished anyway, because we're only going to have annuals in here.
Yes.
So that's fine. You throw them away at the end of the year.
You've got holes in the bottom. That's the main thing, isn't it?
I've got my drainage in there, shingle and stuff. And then on top of that, I've got John Innies, and I've had a lovely time out there. Patted it all down like that. Now, the next step is to get the little girl to make a plan of the garden, you see, and that's really...
Did Lisa make that, or is that your plan?
I've done it for her, but I think she'll change all this, you know, the other one that she's going to do. She'll probably change it.
She'll do it her own way.
Yeah. But I thought, I mean, you can do anything, as long as you've got the dividing lines. That's the best thing to do. You can use a stick or a pen or anything like that.
Do you like gardening?
I do. I adore gardening.
How about your children?
Oh, they do. They've got their own little patch of land that they look after.
That's handy, isn't it?
Yes.
Let me see. What am I doing? This is good enough, as long as you can see the line there, look. And then just one down like that, and one down like that. So you've just got a rough idea of what you're doing. And this applies to when you're making a bed in the garden, a flower bed in the garden. You do the same thing on paper and then sow your seeds directly into it. That's another thing about this. It's handy for the children because they can actually sow the seeds where they're going to bloom.
What percentage of seeds come up?
Well, a lot come up. You have to thin them out. They come up very thick, so you just thin them out. You can see when they're about half an inch tall. This one's called Kiddies Mixture, and because there might be some taller ones on, I've put those at the back there, so I shall just sow those. They're quite large seeds.
When will we see this blooming?
Well, about June, July, you know. They don't look very interesting at the moment.
Well, at least you can see them.
These are all right, yes, but some of the other things are quite small. I'll save some of those in case she wants to use them.
So you spread them quite thickly?
Quite thickly, because you're going to thin them out, don't forget.
Yes.
And I mustn't make a mistake here. I'll have to follow my little plan. See, I'm not that clever, am I?
No.
Here's the fairy bouquet. That's a pretty little thing. Yes, this is 9 to 12 inches tall, so it should be ample room for the root growth in this. Now, this is very fine, so I shall just hope for the best. Well, you can see them coming out.
The birds come along and eat all these lovely seeds.
They do when they're coming through if you're not careful. So that's those. Get rid of that. And then we have the ageratum here. That's pretty, isn't it?
I've never heard of ageratum.
It's lovely for bedding and boxes, and I'll put this in the front because it's small. Hanging baskets, anything like that. So quickly put that in.
So would you cover them with net if the birds come? Because I have pigeons that come all over my balcony.
Well, these won't.
We have seagulls.
These are
seagulls.
Yes, we have seagulls.
Now, you know what these are, don't you? Antirrhinum.
No.
Bunny rabbits.
Bunny rabbits.
Is that what they're called?
Yes, everybody's got bunny rabbits. Children love them, don't
they? You press them and the mouth's open. The flower opens
I do
like
know.
a
Barry
mouth.
told me about them. Yes, I do know.
So the thing is, now you've got your seeds into place, is to put the soil over the top to cover. And I always rub them through a sieve.
Why is that?
Well, it's not so lumpy, and you make sure that the seeds, the seeds cover up then. And after that, when you've finished going all over, it takes a little bit of time. Get them to water it very, very slowly, because if you water too fast, the seeds just float to the top, and you've lost them. You know, you've lost your pattern, really.
Could you spray it, or
yes, a very, very fine misty spray, anything like that.
Just concentrate on it.
So Jamila's got a job now.
Yes, Jamila's got a job. She'll be watching all the time to see if it
That's
grows.
about the right size garden for me, you know. I could manage that.
I don't believe
I swear,
you can manage a bit bigger than that.
I don't sure she could. Carol.
I'll just move it.
You want to have a look at these?
Oh, I
Will you
do.
get me my lampshade?
Yes, I will.
Lovely, thank you.
Oh, is this inexpensive thing you were talking about?
I had a challenge from my brother that I couldn't make lampshades for him for under £5. He's moved, you see, and didn't want to spend any money on things like this.
Yeah.
So, let me get this
They're
organised.
expensive, aren't they?
Dreadfully expensive. But this was an old one which I covered with a piece of curtain fabric, and I just made it slightly bigger and then pulled in the surplus on a piece of string like that.
I see you haven't bound anything inside or anything complicated.
Not at all.
And you just pulled it tight.
Pulled it tight, yeah. And then you can take it off to wash it, which is a good idea as well.
Looks too
Like
easy,
that.
doesn't it?
It's not elastic, it's string.
It's string. String's best. And what I thought of doing then was putting things over the top to make different atmospheres. I mean, that's a bedroomy kind of one. But again, you've got to cut out a circle on top. But I haven't cut one out, you see, there yet. But you need to cut a circle about the size of the top of a cup, say.
Yes.
To let the air ventilate.
In fact, you've got to be very careful about that, haven't you? About scorching.
But that's just one.
What size bulb did you say?
About 60 be enough.
60, that's safe.
Then if you wanted a romantic one, you could do a dark.
Lovely. Yes, I see you've cut that. Yes.
Yeah, I've cut this one out and I'm going to bind it round
With lace.
like that.
So why do you call that a romantic one? Because of all the lace?
Yeah, and the colour. You see, it would change the colour of the light in the room if you did that.
Yes, the bedroom colour.
Like that. It is rather. And if you wanted to do the French cafe bit,
beautiful.
this is just
Yes.
fabric paint, which you can buy, which is washable, of course. And I've painted it on. Again, I've cut a hole. That gives a nice effect.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Did you fill in that, or did you paint all that?
I painted it on.
Isn't
I did all the black bits first with a felt tip paint.
Yes.
Yes.
And then filled in all the different colours you see with the paint, like
It's
that.
not batik, it's hand-painted.
It's hand-painted, yeah.
Was it
It is
just a plain
washable,
bit of just a
A
plain
piece
bit
of a sheet, so it
a
didn't
bit
cost
of a
me anything,
sheet.
yes, as well. So the thing is, if you did want to do a square one, you've just got to cut a square the right size, which isn't really that easy because it's knowing how big to do it. And I found the easiest way is to, say you wanted it to come to about there, like that. Well, if you use the selvage edge as one of the sides of your square and tear the material to provide a good straight edge for the other side, so you've got a right angle there, you can then fold that on itself to give you a 45-degree angle like that. You can fold those two across all the way like that. Now let me see if I can get this organised. Hold it along, put it down like that.
Oh, I see.
And across the top.
Stretch it over.
And then you know what, that's the other...
squares, no?
Yeah, that's the other side of the square then. That's the other corner, the opposite corner. And then if you fold those two together like that...
It becomes a square.
Yeah, very clever.
Yeah,
Just
this looks
cut
like
it
a
across
hat
there.
trick, doesn't it?
It does, but it works quite easily. And then again, cut out the circle, you see there.
And you've
You need,
got
you need to cut a quarter circle out of that.
Yes.
But it's quite a nice idea.
And so you've done all that for much less than £5, I imagine.
I've got enough for about 6 more covers.
Idea for a bazaar, church bazaar. It's
Would be an
giving me a good
wouldn't it?
idea.
Yeah, it really would.
But what I wanted to know about this, is it stitched at the side?
No. Just put it on.
Fascinated by everything they do.
Yeah, so am I.
The worst thing is when you bump into somebody famous and then you've gone past before you realise and you didn't get a good enough look. Why do you get upset if you don't? Oh yes, I want to hear all about it. And they sell special magazines in America full of famous people's indiscretions and things. I love them.
Their private lives.
I must say that part of the curiosity about seeing somebody famous, particularly women, is to really see how they look, if they look as good as they look on the screen. Don't you find that? You want to get very close to them.
And depending on your mood, I mean, if they look marvellous, you think, oh, that's good. And if you feel horrible, you think, oh.
I can remember reading when a Stubbs said that somebody had asked her to sign autographs in a bookshop or something, and these two ladies came up to her, and one looked closely under her neck and says, look, her neck's all wrinkled. She's not that young, you know.
Terribly unkind.
As if she weren't there.
Yeah.
Well, really strange.
I once met the Queen.
And I know boasting.
Well, I was very young. It was when she visited Nigeria. I was about 10 years old, I think. We were all given strict instructions to line the street with our little Union Jacks. And if she stops to speak to us, we should say, how do you do, and curtsy. But I got absolutely overwhelmed when she stopped in front of me. I didn't curtsy, I didn't say, how do you do. I just handed her my Union Jack.
What did she do with it?
No, she said, thank you very much, and she walked away.
Lovely.
Beautiful eyes.
Yes.
Beautiful eyes.
And she's very small. That always
small.
cheers me up enormously.
She's quite
Then
small.
I must say, I am interested in the royal family, but film stars don't bother me at all.
Really?
No,
I
I mean,
a
most
play.
things that you read about film stars aren't true.
No,
They're
no.
either...
The publicity.
Well, I think they have to be careful because of the libel laws. Surely
no,
they
but
can't be
there
too
are
untrue.
lots
Don't
of things
disappoint
that aren't
me.
really true.
No, but I mean,
You
it's
know
lovely
that.
to look at. I saw Audrey Hepburn at Romeo Fort on one occasion. I thought she was so fantastic. In fact, I was so scared of flying, it took my mind off her. Really, just looking at her. Thought, how lovely.
I remember once my father and mother, in fact, they were coming across to the Isle of Man, and I was meeting them there. And they came across in an airplane, and there was a man across the islet my father kept smiling at because he thought he knew him. And he said to my mother, I know him, I think he's from Omagh, which is where they lived. And when they got off the plane, there was a full fanfare and trumpets and everything else. And my mother thought, my God, you know, I've really lit it on for them, you know, fanfare, trumpets. And it was Sean Connery.
It's just gorgeous. He is marvellous. Yes, in fact, this man I was telling you about, this friend of mine who's involved in shoots, was telling me how marvellous Sean Connery is. Now, I really would put myself out to meet him. Without his toupee.
I think part of the fascination as well is their minds, you know. I had tea with Malcolm Muggeridge not long ago. And
Name dropping.
It would have to be his mind, wouldn't it?
His mind fascinates me. He just goes on, and I just sit down in awe and sort of gaze in his eyes and
It
listen
must be
to him.
awful for them, though, Carol, mustn't it, really, being stared at and...
Oh, I'm sure they
must
like it.
Do you think so?
And don't you think a woman must always be absolutely on top?
Flood's New Haven.